How are you? It's Tuesdays at 2, my 51st Tuesdays at 2. My name is Martin Buckland, and I am an executive career management practitioner. I manage and advance the careers of senior executives and those who aspire to be business leaders. Today, we have a very, very interesting topic: resume/CV cardinal sins. As an executive resume writer, I see so many shocking, disgusting resumes and CVs each day. It's no wonder many people, millions across the world, are never getting any traction in their resume. And they wonder why. Well, I'm going to give you some cardinal sins today that perhaps you need to address when you write your resume or your CV. So this is my 51st Tuesdays at 2. Each week I have a different topic. So please join me, connect with me, and I'll be happy to help you with your career management. But most of all, please ask me some questions as we go through this Tuesdays at 2. Doesn't have to be related to CVs, resumes, anything to do with your career. Perhaps there's something on your mind that is bugging you, and you are very frustrated. Let me see if I can remove that frustration for you. So today, this topic is resume and CV cardinal sins. So I have a whole laundry list. In fact, I can keep you busy for hours on this topic. Very passionate to me, and it's very, very important to you. One mistake on your CV or your resume can eliminate you out of a job where you are the perfect candidate. So hopefully, as this Tuesdays at 2 unfolds, you will get a lot of ideas on how to boost the impact of your resume, correct it, and hopefully get more traction by interviews. Because a resume, a CV, doesn't get you the job, it gets you, the viewer, the interview. So hopefully you will gain a lot of information today. They're in no particular order, no priority, but one thing I want to say is you only get one chance, one kick of the can to make that first impression. Don't mess it up by having an inferior resume. And if you want, I'm more than happy to give you a free, no obligation, no sales pitch resume critique. I will put my email in the body of the comments so then you can send it to me. So let's go through this laundry list of mistakes, cardinal sins I see each day. And I've been writing resumes for 26 years. So yeah, I consider myself an expert, a global expert. I have clients all over the world. So in no particular order, a non-ATS friendly CV resume. So what does the word AT or the acronym ATS mean? It's the automated tracking system. Now, sadly, I don't like technology, and I bet a lot of you don't like technology, but sadly, technology can count you out just like that of getting an interview where you are the perfect candidate. So ATS friendly resume. Now that's a whole Tuesday at 2 topic in itself. I can speak for hours, but go and look it up on the internet or go on my YouTube channel, and there are particular specific YouTubes dedicated to ATS friendly resumes, CVs. If you go on my YouTube channel, please also press the subscribe button and the bell button where you will be notified of all the future videos coming down the pipeline. And there are many. So basically, an ATS friendly resume is when you send it to an executive recruiter, when you send it as a result of applying for a job, you or your resume will be scanned into a machine. It will be read by a pre-programmable scanning application, and then it will be stored. And then when they are looking for the perfect candidate, they type in the buzzwords, the keywords, your particular functional industry specific buzzwords that are pertinent to you or the particular application. But please don't apply for a job where you aren't very close to the perfect candidate. Sadly, there's lots of talent available on the market, and you're wasting your time. You're also wasting the human resources time. So don't waste people's time. Apply for jobs where you have the bulk of the skill sets. So you can't have, in a nutshell, you can't have shading, you can't have underlines, you can only have certain types of bullets, you can only have one block of text of 4 lines or more. The rest has to be 3 lines. The list for an ATS resume goes on and on and on. And it's only been around in the last 4 to 5 years. And I've had to adjust my resume writing style, content to meet this scanning machinery. Bearing in mind that you can never beat a computer, but you can match a computer. And I know how to match a computer. That makes it even more imperative that if you want a free, no obligation CV resume critique, I'm more than happy to give you 30 minutes of my time for free. So a non-ATS resume. If you don't have a non-ATS resume, there is absolutely no point in you applying. Now people say, I'm going to give it to somebody. Yeah, you give it to somebody, and I teach that in my job search strategies, and there's been Tuesdays at 2 talking about that before. Yeah, give it to somebody that you know in that particular company, but invariably for process-wise, they're going to have to give it to their HR. HR scan it into their machinery. You might be forgotten. So always be prepared. Have an ATS friendly resume. Next one is, and I see this all the time, typo, grammatical errors. There's no excuse today. Always have your resume, your CV proofread by several of your peers, somebody you trust, somebody who's got a good command of your native language, English language, French language, or whatever language it is. Because one mistake in a grammar or punctuation, one typo, there again can count you out. Let's take that a little bit step further. You need to be language specific. So always prepare your resume in Microsoft Word. That's the only word processor available today that's taken by all corporations and executive recruiters. But make sure it's English is specific. So if you're applying in the UK, make sure it's English. If you're applying in Canada, make sure it's Canadian English. If you're applying in the US, make sure it's US English. So you just need to go to Word and you just need to change that somewhat, little button, and it will read all the differences between the English, the Canadian English, the US English, the Australian English, the New Zealand English. The list goes on. But if you are applying in North America and you want to apply south of the border, you've got rights to work down there, or you want a visa, or you are Canadian, you need to have 2 different versions. You have a US version and a Canadian version. The content is exactly the same. The format is exactly the same. The only thing is minor spelling, grammar, and punctuational differences. For instance, the word color, COLOR in the US, rest of English, the world is COLOUR. And there's a whole long list of other words. But you know what? There's no point in you making one tiny little error that is going to count you out of a particular opportunity. So typos, grammatical errors, and be language specific. So let's see if we got a couple of questions here. I think we have as we progress through here, because I got a lot more to talk about. Looking forward to today's session, Martin. Thanks for hosting. Thank you, Brian. Engaging, Martin, is a great experience in itself. I learned a lot about myself. Well, thank you very much. John is one of my current clients, and I've been working with him, and I push my clients through. So that's good. You need to learn a lot about yourself because you are a salesperson. You are selling yourself. You are a product, and you are sending that product to the market. And the resume, CV, is just a small component of that. So keep these questions coming. The more the merrier. I love answering questions. Doesn't have to be on resumes or CVs. So the next is responsibilities over accomplishments. Now place yourself in a hiring authority's chair. Are you going to be hired for your responsibilities, or are you going to be hired for your accomplishments? Because you can make them money, you can save them money, you can streamline operations, you can eliminate headcount, you can introduce new systems and processes, continuous improvement, lean. The list goes on and on and on. I am going to suggest to you that you are going to be hired for your accomplishments. You're not going to be hired for your responsibilities. If you're a CFO or you're a vice president of finance or vice president of supply chain, senior sales and marketing person, I know what you do, but I see your performance. I'm not really interested in your responsibilities. Having said that, let's take just a step back here. There are certain criteria that today you need to put in a CV or resume. You need to put the number of direct reports, the number of indirect reports, your CapEx budget, your OpEx budget, and your P&L if you have it. Plus, if you've got multiple offices or staff located across different regions, states, provinces, or countries, you need to put that in there too. So those are the only responsibilities I and decision makers, career decision makers for your future employment want to see. But they want to see accomplishments. Now, John was right. I push my clients. So I push them to really do a lot of brainstorming on their accomplishments. Based on, I build their accomplishments around an acronym called STAR. So situation, task, action, result. STAR, situation, task, action, result. We have another question coming in. I'll put my glasses on. Okay, delighted to seeing you so well, Martin. First time I've watched Tuesdays at 2. You are good. Thank you, Werner. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. So, thank you very much. So, yeah, make sure it's ATS friendly, no typos, no grammatical errors, responsibilities, no, accomplishments, yes. So, lack of metrics. Now, going parlay with accomplishments, there is metrics. Now, some people, because they work for a private company, they can't talk about metrics. I totally understand that. You can put confidential, multi-million or whatever, but make sure you more metrics you put in there, the better it's going to be for you. Now, this totally bamboozles me every day. I see sales resumes all the time. Now, sales actually are the world's worst resume writers. So I see sales resumes without any facts or figures, dollar value, percentile, sales growth, customer growth, profit margin. You are going to be hired because you can make the money. That's the function of a salesperson. So make sure you put in your resume as many sales figures that you can. The more the merrier. The more facts and figures, not just in sales functions, but finance, marketing, supply chain, all the functions, you are a performer. Now, I have many clients come to me and say they don't have metrics. Just spend an hour with me. I will pull a ton of metrics out of you. You need to show those metrics. You are going to be hired simply because you can deliver. You can perform. So lack of metrics is another cardinal sin. Failing to customize the resume to a particular job. Now, when I write resumes for my clients, I do sort of a generic one, and then I teach them how to customize it. So your career resume is basically your career history. It documents your career history. So you can't change your career history, but you can reprioritize those star stories relevant to the job that you are applying for. And then the top third of a page, you can customize to that particular job. So you put the title of the position, you have your personal brand, you have a soft skills summary, and this is very, very important. You have your buzzwords. Those are the pertinent keywords that are particular to this job, your skill set, the function, and the industry. I'm going to suggest you can have a maximum of 20. Try and keep it down to about 18, but 20 is fine. But those are the keywords. So the top third of a page, page 1, is where you customize and you can reprioritize those star stories pertinent to the job. Now, when you come to save that resume, you save it with your name, and then you put the name of the company, resume.doc, not docx, .doc. So you need to have, failing to customize is not going to be good. You don't send generic resumes out by the hundreds. In fact, it's actually better to send 10 targeted resumes for hidden jobs. And that's another topic, another Tuesdays at 2. And also there's lots of videos on my YouTube channel where you can get a wealth of information on uncovering those hidden jobs. So it's actually better to send 10 targeted resumes out than it is hundreds or thousands. Be specific. Salespeople, remember, I'm telling you, you're a salesperson. Salespeople are selling themselves. You are a salesperson. You are selling yourself and you're sending it to the market. Salespeople target. You need to target. 0 action verbs. So start off with a different action verb. Now, coming back to sales, and I want to pick on sales, but I see so many inferior sales resumes. In fact, I'm going to tell you, I've been in business now 26 years. I can probably count on 10 hands how many good sales resumes I've ever seen. And I've seen thousands. So that's not good. Sales, marketing, and human resources are the 3 worst functions for writing resumes. So let's use the sales action verbs as an example. Now, the one that people use tons and tons of time is increased. Yeah, it's an action verb, but don't put increased, 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 increased. How boring is that? You need to ignite excitement and engagement at the other end, not just going through that ATS scanning machinery, but when it gets out of the ATS at the other end, you want to excite that person to pick up the phone and give you a call for the interview. So excite that person, have different action verbs. So here are some that I would use. Instead of increased, yeah, you was use increased, but what about boosted, uplifted, elevated, catapulted, propelled? There are so many other action verbs. If you want to go and download 2019 action verbs for free, go to my aneliteresume.com website, where you can download an ebook for free. Aneliteresume.com. 2019 action verbs for free. So 0 action verbs. Then this is the one that really bugs me, and I see it so many times, but it's going to date you by at least 12 years if you have these words on your CV, your resume. The word objective, the word profile, and the one that makes me cringe is resumes available upon request. Never ever have those 3 words on your resume. Objective went out a long time ago. The word profile went out a long time ago. And the references available upon request, you don't need that. When I write a resume, every line counts. Every line to me as a resume writer counts. So resumes available upon request is not just one line, it's the line above and it's the line below. So it could be up to 3 lines. I can sell my person or my client far better by having those 3 lines available. But you need to have your references prepared. And that's another topic, and also on my YouTube channel. So don't have the word objective. Instantly, you are dating yourself. Don't have the word profile. There again, you are dating yourself. And definitely references available upon request. Let's see what the questions coming in. Brian Lass, for multifaceted persons who possess valuable but peculiar dual or territory skill sets, do you have any advice for clarifying your message so that your candidacy doesn't get lost in translation when applying for successive positioning? Now, that's a really good question. Let's repeat that one, because there's a lot in that. Thanks, Brian, for asking. For multifaceted persons who possess valuable but peculiar dual or territory skill sets, do you have any advice for clarifying your message so your candidacy doesn't get lost in translation when applying for successive positions? Now, let me see if I can answer that to what you're looking for, Brian. I'll try it my best. I'm not too sure what your peculiar dual or tertiary skill sets are. I can't remember, but you need to have, if you put that skill set up the top, whatever that peculiar skill set is, you definitely need to have that a story, preferably a star story, in the body of your resume. So, and that will clarify your message, why you had that skill set, that what you call peculiar. It's a really interesting word. Thanks for asking that. Peculiar, I don't think any skill set is peculiar, because all skills are accrued and they are all wanted in today's environment, tomorrow's environment. But so doesn't get lost in translation. So you need to clarify when applying for successive positions. I'd ask you to ask that second part of the question again, but clarify what you mean when applying for successive positions. If you could elongate on that question. Thank you, Chris. Always a pleasure to speak with you and to have you as a client. So hopefully that somewhat answered your question. I'm very fascinated by the word peculiar dual or tertiary skill sets. So perhaps we can come back to that. as it unfolds. So objective profile references available upon request, cut them out, take them out. Never, ever, ever have them on your resume. Leaving out contact information. Now, you will think this is stupid. I think it's stupid, but people still do it. They send their resume to me, their CV to me. And this happens frequently, not uncommon. They send their resume to me and they say, Martin, I'm puzzled. I'm not getting any interest. I'm not getting any interest. But their resume is reasonably good. No resume is perfect, but their resume is reasonably good. They don't have their phone number or they don't have their email. They have zero contact information on their resume. Or if they do have a phone number, it's an outdated one. That's one that's been deleted, cancelled, or they've moved areas or whatever for the last 10 years or whatever. Well, what's that going to tell a reader at the other end if you've got an outdated contact? You need to have updated contacts. Have your current cell phone. You can put your home phone as well, but distinguish between the two, which one it is, cell, mobile, or home. So these are the contacts you need to have. You need to have your phone numbers up to date, current, real ones. You need to have an email address. Now, I see so many unprofessional emails. Never, ever, ever use Hotmail. My ISP doesn't even let me receive an Hotmail address anymore. So if you used to send to me, and I suspect it's a lot more in corporations today, Hotmail address doesn't go through, and then you wonder why you're not getting any phone, any emails or calls. So if you've got a combination of an outdated phone number and a Hotmail address, you started this job search on the wrong rudder. You need to have an up-to-date phone numbers, up-to-date emails. You need to have your LinkedIn address. Make sure it's customized. If you've got numbers and letters after your name, take those numbers and letters out after your name because you haven't customized it. And then Google, as soon as you do that, will give you a 400% uplift. And then the final communication, this is just since the advent of COVID, is you need to have a Zoom address, not your email, but your 10-digit Zoom address in small letters, because it's not a sales point, but you need to have it there because you want people to contact you. I cannot tell you the number of people who send me their resume without a phone number or an outdated phone number. And then they wonder why. Why aren't I getting any calls? Instantly. It's so simple. I can tell you. It's common sense. 101. Have all those at the top. Phone numbers, emails, LinkedIn address, customize your LinkedIn address and your Zoom address. Next one. Next cardinal sin. Over 3 pages. Now, the rule of writing resumes is you don't have a one-pager anymore. That's passé. That's out of date. No one-pager. Zip. None. Especially for executives. You can't sell yourself and it's not ATS friendly. So you need to have a 2-page or a 3-page. You don't do 2.5, 2 1/3, 2 1/4, or whatever. You fill either 2 complete pages or 3 complete pages. Now, there are some exceptions to the rule. A CV in the scientific, the medical environment, and expert witnesses can have CVs, resumes that go on to 15, 16, 20 pages or whatever. But if you aren't a scientist, anybody in medical world, justice to a certain degree, and there are other particular functions or industries, Keep it to 3 pages. The minute you go over 3 pages, here where I am, here in Canada, if you go over 3 pages, your resume, your CV, you stop, you eliminate yourself out of a 93%. So only get 7% will get read going through. So you don't want to do that. It's in the 90%, the rest of the world, the Western world. So 2 pages, 3 pages, complete pages, not halves, thirds, quarters. Next one is including salary and your salary requirements. That is pigeonholing yourself instantly by your salary. It could be too high, it could be too low, but also it's very passe. You don't put your salary in any shape or form, your current salary, your potential salary, or your proposed salary, anywhere in that document. That is a confidential thing you need to discuss when you advance in the interview stages. So never ever have salary or salary requirements in your CV, your resume. Next one is listing hobbies. Now, yeah, when I first started resumes, we used to put hobbies down, and used to put hockey and football and whatever. Now, even if you're a coach for a pee-wee or a minor hockey or whatever, minor football, don't put that down. It's not pertinent. But hobbies in particular, if it's relevant to what the job you are applying for, then that might be relevant. But obsolete hobbies or generic hobbies, no, I congratulate you. It's good to have that work-life balance, but don't have hobbies on your CV or your resume, or interests, unless you've got something like a couple of my clients. They climb Mount Everest, they climb Mount McKinley, they climb Mount Kilimanjaro, they climb Mount Mont Blanc, and a few others. Well, what does that tell them? That tells the reader at the other end, wow, there's a lot of soft skills and leadership skills and determination and whatever. Or you've been in the top 100 of the Chicago, the London, the New York, the Miami marathons. That's good as well, but no, don't. Please, I'm seeing this more and more. I've given 50 pints of blood. Great. We need you to give blood. But I'm not really interested in how many pints you're given. I had one not long ago, just 10 pints of blood. 10 pints, that's good. You're on the way up, but it's not applicable in a resume or a CV. Now, as I say, I can keep you going for ages, but this is the final one. Then I'm going to answer some questions I have coming in. Great, I'm looking forward to that. Never ever have a photograph on a CV resume. Now, let me qualify that. Certain countries in Europe, sort of Switzerland, France, the Benelux countries, want to see you have a picture, a photograph. But if you're going to have a photograph, don't have it a shabby photograph. Make sure it's a professional photograph. Don't have one with your catch of the day, or with your kids or your wife or whatever. Make sure you have a professional photograph. But those are the only reasons why. However, I'm now seeing, and I write a lot of CVs in mainland Europe, now they are becoming less and less. Certainly in Switzerland, I've seen that a photograph becoming less necessary, and France. So don't cut yourself out just by simply having a photograph. Plus, it doesn't scan. So it throws the ATS, the scanning application, out. So let's come back to the questions. So Stephen Ross, this is excellent, Martin. Thanks. Going to rewrite my resume and send it to me. Yeah, that's right. So it's going to take you a long time. Don't think, Stephen, that you can prepare a resume in 8 hours. I don't know how long history you've got, but I'm going to suggest a good resume for somebody with 20 years experience and up will take upwards of 20 hours. It's like anything. The more effort you put into it, the more rewards will come your way. And 0 cardinal sins. So hopefully, Stephen, you've got a wealth of information to now go and rewrite the resume, and then I'm more than happy to give you a free, no obligation resume critique. Okay, so now we're coming back to Brian. My skill sets are law enforcement, leadership, and management. Legal advocacy, a former provincial prosecutor, and licensed paralegal. Lean Six Sigma green belt, and experience in change improvement initiatives, as well as creating full complements of unit-wide policy and procedure, and the list goes on. You and I have had some relationships, business relationships over many years. I've watched your career grow, and just in the last, I'm going to say 6 or 7 months, you really got fire in your belly. You've really got a lot of ambition. You signed up for a great EMBA program. You've been asking me some really good questions each week on Tuesdays at 2 and offline, off streaming. You are very ambitious. You're very driven. Those skill sets all have a play in other functions. Now, law enforcement, that's risk management, all sorts of different things come into play there. So you being in law enforcement, you don't have to close the door. It's not a closed door environment, but bearing in mind that the world we haven't returned to the hiring that we had prior to COVID. However, I'm seeing that probably shortly we will. And then those who don't have 100% skill sets, but have sort of transferable skill sets, can transition. But you have an outstanding, they're not peculiar at all. They are particular, they are specific. So so be proud of those skill sets, Brian. Complete your EMBA and then look around and see what's available to you, because your EMBA, as I've said many, many times, as an expert on Executive Master of Business Administration, just wrapped up my 2050th EMBA client, opens up so many new opportunities. So anybody got any other questions? I'm going to type my email in there for people who want to send me their resume for a free critique. I'm more than happy to provide 30 minutes of my time for free to go through it, but I do say it as it is, because you only get one kick of the can here. So anybody got any other questions? Please feel free to send me or ask me any questions. I live on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to answer questions on LinkedIn too. I'll be happy that you join me on next week's Tuesdays at 2, where the topic is 5 tips to manage your career. 5 tips to manage your career. Those who have seen this, it's available now on YouTube and can for a replay. Please spread the news. If you know of anybody who's struggling in their career, with their career management, struggling in job search, having real difficulty, maybe morale problems, getting inspired to get going, I'm more than happy to have a chat with them. And get them to come to next Tuesdays at 2, where I will share my wealth of information, some more snippets on how you can manage and advance your career. You're welcome, Alan. Let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully I will see you all here back next week when we got 5 top tips. 5 top tips tips to manage your career. Thanks for having me this week. Have a great week. You should always, even if you are gainfully employed, you should always manage your career 24/7, 365. Everybody is so vulnerable today. You never know when that writing on the wall will come and you will be terminated. You'll be stranded. Update your resume. Update your LinkedIn profile now. Have a great week. Hopefully, I will see you all next week, and I'm always here for you. My name is Martin Buckland, and I'm an executive career management practitioner. I manage and advance the careers of senior executives, EMBAs, Executive Master of Business Administration, and I'm a global expert in mining professionals from top to bottom. Mining is hot right now. They cannot find enough candidates in mining across the world. Have a great week. I will see you next Tuesday at 2.